I now invite Devkumar Trivedi ji for his presentation. Trivedi ji.
Hello, can you hear me all? Good. So, hello, hi, good morning, good evening to all my friends, acquaintances, and friends and fraternity in the general semantics at large. To all of you, greetings of the day. This is an occasion which calls for smiles and joy and celebration, because this is an intercity, interstate, international, and may I say intercontinental cyber convergence of a unique kind. Personally, though, I would prefer to be face to face so that I can look into the eyes, see the interactions of the body mind of the participants, all of them together, and that draws out the best in all of us when we are face to face. I miss that. But nonetheless, to make the best of the situation, my association with Professor Gad Horowitz and Shannon Bell goes a long way. I first met them in November 2013 at Rajkot workshop. And as we are indexing, then again at December 16 workshop at Dehradun, and then in December 17 again at Behrampur. And each time, the first time when I heard them, it was not only their erudition, their scholarship, but also their eloquence, their clarity, the elegance in which the presentation was made that really struck me. I had seen a number of workshops being conducted before that, nationally, internationally, all over different places and all that. But this was something that struck me. And though I'm not the kind to say, oh my God, that kind of language I don't use. But this was one workshop where, at the end of it, on the valedictory function, on, to be precise, on 16th of November 2013, I was speaking to them in the valediction and I said, oh my Gad. That was the impact of the workshop upon me. With these opening remarks, since the subject of the workshop here is general semantics, and most of you are very familiar with it, so a few thoughts, running thoughts. I wish this could be interactive, but make the best of it as much as we can. And so I start with a foundational axiom, the very Brahma Sutra or Brahma Vakya of general semantics. In fact, general semantics itself is a kind of a map. Words, when we talk, time binding, language, all we are drawing contours of different kinds. The lines are drawn. So GS itself is a kind of map. And let's see, starting with the axiom, map is not the territory. This by now is clear to all of us practically, that map, drawing of contours on a piece of paper, a kind of abstraction, is different from territory, which is out there, extensional, verifiable, green field, ground. So map is not the territory. This difference of paper and difference of extensional world, the difference between the two is more or less clear. And now I'm taking off from Gad's meditation. Let's enter into kind of meditation. Let's enter into kind of contemplation that Shen speaks of. Let's start meditating, contemplating, cogitating. What are the derivatives that we can have? What are the corollaries that we can draw from this basic axiom? Map is not the territory. The next one that I start deriving is territory is not the trip. Territory is not the trip. So, although there are green fields there, there is a flowing river there are trees with low-hanging, tempting fruits, but it's all out there. But territory that I see from the top of a hillock, that itself is not a trip. So territory is not the trip, it's not the journey. The first derivative that I am deriving, corollaries, ancillaries, some kind of derivatives that I am drawing out. So this extensional world, stage 1, as I said, paper and green field. Stage 2, green field and journey. These two are separate things. So map is not the territory, territory is not the trip, and the next derivative is map. Therefore, it's a kind of syllogism. It's a kind of syllogism. Map is not the territory, territory is not the trip, and therefore map is not the trip. Clear syllogism. 1, 2, 3. QED. When I say map is not the trip, when I describe the ground, I said there is a flowing river and there is a cottage and there are low-hanging trips. If you want the benefits of low-hanging fruits, you have to journey yourself. You have to take the trip. And just now, Shen beautifully demonstrated how general semantics can impact life so substantially. She is a living example of how it can have a transformative impact upon one's life, and how one can get all the benefits, so much of it out of it, for your own benefit. So, I mentioned the syllogism, and then I say the word trip. Now, people sitting here and participating are by and large students of English language and literature, and so I know they would like to have some variation of the word trip. While I have drawn the conclusion in the syllogism that map is not the trip, I am presenting an exactly opposite statement also, that map is a trip. Trip in the sense of a stumble. You trip upon something. Trip in the sense of a fall. So, taking recourse to the noun as well as verb, on one hand I say map is not the trip, on the other hand I say map is a trip. You can stumble upon it because you tend to confuse the map and the territory, and when that confusion takes place, when you don't see the structural dissonance or structural consonance, then you trip upon the map. Some loud thinking. I wish I could do this face to face with all of you participants, but as we all know, over the years with language, journalists have a jargon, and that jargon is called journalese. Similarly, there is a lexicon for lawyers, and that lexicon of lawyers is called legalese. And there is a third one that I had coined. And I say the language that we have used over the years, its structure, its fossilization, its identity in ease and all that, that is handed down to us over the years by Aristotle. So I call it Aristotelese. So like journalese and like legalese, we have been using Aristotle all these years, and Korzybski with his formulations said, here is a way out. You can come out of that jargon. You can break out of the template which has been handed down to you for centuries. He gave us a toolkit of formulations. To use it is up to us. And again, I may be repetitive, but I admired so much Shen's presentation, how it fundamentally impacts your life if you use the toolkit. Life is something like a loom, I would say, like a loom. There are the warps of words, of language, warps. And then there is the woof of experience. The shuttlecock moves around. Experience. It keeps on changing. Day to day, time to time, hour to hour, minute to minute. So the warp and the woof of language, the threads of language, and experience that weaves through it. We all weave a kind of tapestry of life. And in that working on the loom, sometimes you will lose a thread. You may drop a thread. A thread may be broken, or there may be a big lump in the thread. To remove all these obstacles, there's a toolkit for the loom of life, to repair it, to rectify it, to bring it back again to a beautiful pattern, the tapestry that you weave. There's a toolkit that was provided by Korzybski. Just a few thoughts, a little bit of syllogism. I see Gad's head nodding, and I like that. I can see some reaction, though I can't see all the rest of the participants, but my friends, Gad and Shen, they are here. So that was part 2 of my interaction with you. Part 1 overview, initial comments. Part 2 was about this. Now part 3 I will come to. This is a workshop, and as I said, the composition of the participants here is by and large they are students of language, literature, and in fact over the years I have seen that the workshops that have been organized here, in that about 90% of participants belong to the discipline of English literature, to the subject of language and literature. Rest of them a bit of philosophy and so and so. Now therefore, participants who are familiar with this discipline of language and literature, they know the other aspects of the subject, such as linguistics, linguistics, and then about philology, and linguistics and philology, and then semantics. So on day 1, when participants gather, they come with certain notions that semantics, oh yes, we know. General semantics, yes, we have some idea about it, semantics. And most of them, they come with some notions of semantics in their mind, not clearly aware, not full attention to what general semantics is. So, to distinguish between semantics and general semantics, let's start with a simple sentence, a very simple sentence. And to be aware and to be attentive to what it is today. Incidentally, you know that there are all kinds of International Day of Yoga, International Mother's Day, International Father's Day, and so on. Today is International Dog's Day. That is it today, International Dog's Day. So let us start with a simple sentence about a dog. And the simple sentence is, the dog is a friendly animal. Now I want you all to concentrate on this. So I say, can you see this all? A simple sentence.
Yes, sir.
A simple sentence. The dog is a friendly animal. I have put it into 2 subdivisions, semantics and general semantics. Now in semantics, when we deal with words and meanings and understanding, when this simple sentence, the dog is a friendly animal, when this is stated by and large, participants in general would say, yes, the dog, yes, we are familiar with. One who climbs on your lap, slobbers you, and is obedient and is loyal, and when you ask him to catch the ball and bring it back to you, does that. The dog, yes, we understand, the dog. Is friendly. Friendly, yes, affectionate, warm, loyal, does your bidding, so friendly. An animal, yes, it's not a human being, so in semantics, you get semantic understanding. Semantic understanding, a simple sentence, the dog is a friendly animal. And now we come to the second part, general semantics. The same simple sentence, the dog is a friendly animal, it can have such a wide range of semantic reactions. And it was mentioned just now that semantic reaction is organism as a whole in an environment. Now, on the International Dogs Day, let me mention, there are 130 breeds of dog, and each breed has such a distinct characteristic. So you have the smallest one called Chihuahua, who is just 5 inches at the shoulder blade, at that. On the other hand, you have the Irish Wolfhound, and 34 inches. From Chihuahua to 34 inches. And then Chihuahua weighs about 2 kgs or so. And then we have the Saint Bernard that weighs 90 kgs. Now, the dog is a friendly animal. And a little girl who is played with Chihuahua says, why do you call it a friendly animal? I play with Chihuahua. It's my playmate. The dog is a playmate. She wouldn't accept the sentence, the dog is a friendly animal. Then there is another person, a 35-year-old man, who was once bitten by a Rottweiler. Now, if you know what a Rottweiler is, it's a ferocious, fierce dog which can bite you. And that person's experience, I mentioned about the warp and woof of experience in language and memory and imagination. Organism as a whole would involve all this. The memory of that Rottweiler that bit me. He would perspire in his body. He would have a sense of fear. And he would say, the dog is not a friendly animal. The dog is a wild animal that can bite you. The dog inspires nothing but fear. That's the second kind of semantic reaction. Then the hunter who goes out with a cocker spaniel, who has a very powerful sense of scent, and then retrieves a hunted animal, brings it back. To that person, in his semantic reaction, the dog is a hunting accessory. Not a friendly animal, but a hunting accessory. This is the third kind of. Now I can go on citing examples and examples about 130 breeds of dogs, and each one of them would have a separate kind of semantic reaction. So we now understand, in semantics we have only semantic understanding. In general semantics we have semantic reaction, which is a very individual, personal, different amalgam that comes out of imagination, experience, memory, language, the body-mind. The meditation that you read out, Gad, it is such a wonderful meditation. It's almost like a prayer that Shen mentioned. And that meditation is the kind of thing which, if you really delve deep into it and take out the corollaries and the derivatives that I mentioned, it can impact your life. So once you understand what is semantic reaction, you find that this sentence, the dog is a friendly animal, is not so simple as it appears. You go into the whole panoramic range of semantic reactions, and the sentence becomes increasingly, it requires depth, dimension, width, height, and it expands, and you see that it's not as simple as it appears. Similarly, we can have facile statements like men are rational, women are intuitive. All these labels. So like the friendly animal, which can be interpreted differently by semantic reaction. Men are rational can have different kind of semantic reaction from different people, or that women are intuitive. These facile statements, once you understand general semantics, you take each word in its total perspective, how it impacts upon you. And before I conclude, to the Buddhists in us, I put forth the koan. And the koan is a simple statement, like a simple sentence, a simple statement. We all participants here in the hall and all over, all that we are participating, we all understand general semantics. A simple sentence. And I see Gad smiling, and now I know that this has triggered volume 3. And team Gad and Shen will work upon this, what we mean by we all understand general semantics. So with best wishes to you, Gad and Shen, for commencing working upon volume 3. Thank you.
That was great, Dev. I was taking notes.
Thank you.